22 are getting rough. My mind just sounds like Shia LaBeouf. It says no, 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 no. Just no, 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 no. And every time I see him with you, my heart sounds like Shia LaBeouf too. No, 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 no. No, 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 no.
I must admit, I was a little bit disappointed when I put out my poll on my community page. How many of you voted for the MP5? I mean, I'm willing to do it, it's easy to do, but that's kind of the problem, it's easy to do. This didn't require me to do any testing, it didn't require me to really play with any interesting setups. I didn't need to learn the gun, I don't really have anything interesting to tell you guys. In fact, this might be the shortest weapon guide I've uploaded. And I'm sorry if that bums you out or it feels lazy, but I have a lot of trouble going in depth on one of the most basic bitch, overused guns we've seen in a long time. The only way I can possibly pad time in this video is by talking about the fact that the MP5 is one of my favorite all-time looking weapons. Like, really nothing comes close. When it comes to like PDW-sized weapons, the MP5, the P90, and the MP7 would almost be tied, except for the fact that the MP5 just looks so good. The MP5K is probably my favorite SMG in Black Ops 1 and Modern Warfare 2. The base MP5 is probably one of my favorite guns in COD 4 and in Modern Warfare 3. It's the first weapon I ever learned in Rainbow Six Siege. Honestly, the MP5 is just one of my all-time favorite weapons. And I love the fact that here in Modern Warfare you can convert it into an MP5K, or have it to be a full-sized MP5. You could even spec this thing for ranged engagements and it'll work. And let's talk about that for a second. So I was not on top of my game. I literally ran into my room, sat down, loaded up Modern Warfare, invited my buddy to a party, we played, and I was definitely not on top of my game. I didn't really have my coffee, I hadn't eaten really anything. I just sat down and started playing, and this gun genuinely feels like, even when I'm at my worst, it can carry me through gunfights. Now this might just be a personal connection with me and the weapon in the game. Maybe I just like the way it sounds, looks, and feels, but honestly, it carries me through gunfights even more so than something like the M4 or Kilo does, and those are very easy to use weapons. You see, I've always been attracted to SMGs that allow me to stretch out my range of engagements. Any SMG that sort of doubles as an assault rifle feels really good in my hands, and the MP5 really nails that. Now there's one thing that I have to mention, and this is personal. I cannot use the 9mm rounds on the MP5. So many people recommend them, so many people live and die by them, and from what I understand, the 10mm rounds don't give a massive bonus to damage or range, but the bonus that they do give, and the way that they make the weapon feel, is so much more intuitive for me. I feel like the 9mm is just a hit marker machine, whereas as soon as you put that 10mm stick on, it just works beautifully. It feels overpowered in my hands personally, even again, like in this gameplay where I'm not even at my best. In fact, I'm more towards my worst. So like I'm saying, it's hard to screw this weapon up. It's hard to put on a series of attachments that's going to negatively affect it or make it hard to use. In fact, I would go as far as to say that this is one of the easiest guns I've used in Call of Duty in a very long time. The MP5 is dependable depending on how you set it up, whether you are in Shipment or Tovorsk District. It is that versatile. And so there's nothing here on screen right now. This would be where I would put a recommended class, but I don't have one for you. There's no way you could really mess this thing up. Just use it how you want to use it. Oh, you want it to be in a stealth build? Use the monolithic or subsonic integral suppressor, or just use the standard barrel with a monolithic or tactical suppressor on there. Go for it. It's not gonna hurt. You want an accuracy build? Use commando grip and compensator, or muzzle brake and merc foregrip depending on what type of engagements you find yourself getting into. Use a higher zoom optic or a lower zoom optic, or the iron sights. The iron sights are fucking beautiful. There's no real way you could give me this gun and have me do terrible with it. Now I'm sure you could get creative with like a thermal sight and a bunch of attachments that, you know, hurt recoil control, but other than just being absolutely silly, it is hard to mess up this gun unless you're absolutely dedicating yourself to doing so. And even then, I think it would hold its own. It is in my personal opinion that something about this weapon needs to change. There's something about it that just makes me not want to use other SMGs, in spite of their magazine sizes, or their movement speed, or any of that. I don't care. The MP5, in my opinion, is just the best SMG because I can absolutely melt people up close. I believe this weapon still allows for 2-shot headshots, which is absurd combined with its fire rate. It's good at mid-range, it's good at long range. Jesus, I mean, you could just take this thing naked into a game and mount it and still use it at longer ranges, like let's say across Azure Cave, for instance. You could do that and it wouldn't be the dumbest idea. At least that's my personal experience with the weapon. You know what, I'm gonna go a step further here. I'm gonna say if you think that this gun is bad or is hard to use, then I would label you bad at the game. I'm sorry. This gun is needing of a nerf. And normally, when it comes to fast time to kill games, I think every gun should be buffed, but the MP5, I think needs a bit of a nerf. And I think that should either be its accuracy, its damage over range, or its movement speed, or a very tiny bit of all three. But doing all that at once could take the gun and just cripple it, so that might not be a great idea. I'm not a developer, and again, I don't know all of the detailed stats of this weapon. All I know is that when I go to play with it, I don't really worry about recoil, I don't really worry about my range of engagements unless it's ludicrously far. I can take out multiple people easily, even with the 30-round 10mm magazines. It's just not hard to do. The subsonic integral suppressor speeds up your aim down sight time, at least that's what it says in the stat sheet. Anyway, it removes the skull above the enemies you've killed, it hides your vapor trails, and it hides your tracers. And then of course it does all the other things that a suppressor does, like hides your muzzle flash and keeps you off the compass. And minimap, I believe, as well. So, I really don't know. Like, they really stacked the MP5 with a lot of good customization options, and just a lot of good stats in general. This is one of the easiest weapons you will ever use in Call of Duty. So enjoy it because I think it's going to get a nerf soon. I think it should get a nerf soon. It is, in my opinion, the best automatic weapon in the game for running, stopping, aiming, killing somebody, and continuing on. It rewards accuracy, but even if you're just landing body shots, you are not going to be dealing with a long time to kill. You see, like with the M13, it really rewards somebody that can go for headshots because of its fire rate, accuracy, and headshot multiplier. The MP5 also rewards you for that, but it doesn't require it. A lot of guns have amazing killing potential, like the AK, the FAL, the FAMAS, the Odin, but they're a little bit fussier. They need a little bit of work. They need some shot pacing. They need some practice. They can't do everything in every situation, but they reward you for using them in spite of the things that make them difficult to use. There is nothing, in my opinion, about the MP5 that makes it difficult to use. So, go on, use the MP5, get as many kills as you can, have as much fun as you can, and let me know how you would nerf it, or make a case for why it doesn't need a nerf. Hell, one of you crazy guys out there might think it needs a buff, and I would love to hear that argument. Alright, so I promise you guys that my next gun guide will be a little bit more interesting. If you guys want to see an MP5 class setup video, please go ahead and request in the comment section below. If you made it to this point in the video, you're awesome. I'll see you when I see you. I also have merch in the description. You can click on that link and go buy a t-shirt with my name on it, if that's something that interests you. See you when I see you. Goodbye.